Start. The status of women in India has been subject to many great changes over the past few millennia, with a decline in their status from the ancient to medieval times to the promotion of equal rights by many reformers. The history of women in India has been eventful. In modern India, women have held high offices including that of the President, Prime Minister, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Leader of the Opposition, Union Ministers, Chief Ministers and Governors. Women's rights are secured under the Constitution of India, mainly equality, dignity and freedom from discrimination. Further, India has various statutes governing the rights of women. As of 2011, the President of India, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and the Leader of the Opposition in the Lok Sabha were women. However, women in India continue to face numerous problems, including violent victimization through rape, acid throwing, dowry killings, marital rape, and the forced prostitution of young girls. Women during the early Vedic period enjoyed equal status with men in all aspects of life. Rigvedic verses suggest that women married at a mature age and were probably free to select their own husbands in a practice called Swayamvar or live-in relationship called Gandharva marriage. In approximately 500 BC, the status of women began to decline. Although reform movements such as Jainism allowed women to be admitted to religious orders, by and large, women in India faced confinement and restrictions. The practice of child marriages is believed to have started around the 6th century. Women in India now participate fully in areas such as education, sports, politics, media, art and culture, service sectors, science and technology, etc. The Constitution of India guarantees to all Indian women equality, no discrimination by the state, equality of opportunity, and equal pay for equal work. In addition, it allows special provisions to be made by the state in favor of women and children, renounces practices derogatory to the dignity of women, and also allows for provisions to be made by the state for securing just and humane conditions of work and for maternity relief. Feminist activism in India gained momentum in the late 1970s. One of the first national level issues that brought women's groups together was the Mathura rape case. The acquittal of policemen accused of raping a young girl in Mathura in a police station led to countrywide protests in 1979-1980. The protests, widely covered by the national media, forced the government to amend the Evidence Act, the Criminal Procedure Code, and the Indian Penal Code, and created a new offence, custodial rape. The status of women in India is strongly connected to family relations. Families are usually multi-generational, with the bride moving to live with the in-laws. Families are usually hierarchical, with the elders having authority over the younger generations and the males over females. Weddings in India can be quite expensive. Most marriages in India are arranged. The Indian Armed Forces began recruiting women to non-medical positions and started inducting women officers in 1992. In October 2015, the Indian government announced that women could serve as fighter pilots in the Indian Air Force, having previously only been permitted to fly transport aircraft and helicopters. The decision means that women are now eligible for induction in any role in the IAF. In 2016, India announced a decision to allow women to take up combat roles in all sections of its army and navy. Though it is gradually increasing, the female literacy rate in India is less than the male literacy rate. Far fewer girls than boys are enrolled in school and many girls drop out. In urban India, girls are nearly on a par with boys in terms of education. However, in rural India, girls continue to be less educated than boys. According to the National Sample Survey data of 1997, only the states of Kerala and Mizoram have approached universal female literacy. According to scholars, the major factor behind improvements in the social and economic status of women in Kerala is literacy. Contrary to common perception, a large percentage of women in India work. However, there are far fewer women than men in the paid workforce. In urban India, women participate in the workforce in impressive numbers. For example, in the software industry, 30% of the workforce is female. In the workplace, women enjoy parity with their male counterparts in terms of wages and roles. The Hindu personal laws of 1956 gave women rights to inheritances. However, sons had an independent share in the ancestral property, while the daughters' shares were based on the share received by their father. Hence, a father could effectively disinherit a daughter by renouncing his share of the ancestral property, but a son would continue to have a share in his own right. Additionally, married daughters, even those facing marital harassment, had no residential rights in the ancestral home. Thanks to amendment of the Hindu laws in 2005, women now have the same status as men. In 1986, the Supreme Court of India ruled that Shah Bano, an elderly divorced Muslim woman, was eligible for maintenance money. However, the decision was opposed by fundamentalist Muslim leaders who alleged that the court was interfering in their personal law. The Union government subsequently passed the Muslim Women's Protection of Rights upon Divorce Act. In India, the male-female sex ratio is skewed dramatically in favor of males, the chief reason being the high number of females who die before reaching adulthood. Tribal societies in India have a less skewed sex ratio than other caste groups. This is in spite of the fact that tribal communities have far lower income levels, lower literacy rates, and less adequate health facilities. Many experts suggest the higher number of males in India can be attributed to female infanticides and sex selective abortions. The sex ratio is particularly bad in the northwestern area of the country, particularly in Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir. Ultrasound scans often reveal the sex of the baby, allowing pregnant women to decide to abort female fetuses and try again later for a male child.